Hello, everybody. This is Etienne Marcel Pertut, and welcome to another edition of the Fighting Peaches. We're continuing our preview of the college football season slash recapping our time in New Orleans for the Sun Belt Football Media Days, and that includes Southern Miss. And we were able to catch up with senior quarterback Braylon Braxton as the Golden Eagles are preparing for the 2025 campaign. Before we get to Braylon and his thoughts on the upcoming season, as always, follow everything that we do at the mothership, to sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And finally, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video hosts, which include YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and more. As I mentioned, we were able to speak with Braylon Braxton from Southern Miss Football as it's become really Marshall West. And we delve into him and many of his teammates transferring from Marshall and his head coach, Charles Huff, going from Marshall to Southern Miss, and the implications and how that's been going, and other things off the field with Braylon. So enjoy.
Senior quarterback for Southern Miss. How's this process been for you overall? We've talked so much about from the outside, from Marshall to Southern Miss to transfers. What about the personal aspect of it? You're moving across the country, two different environments. How's the logistics been? Do you now feel a little bit more comfortable now at Southern Miss?
Yeah, I would definitely say this process has been it's been a challenging one, but something that I've approached with open arms for sure. I'm a Texas kid, born and raised, so being able to get back closer to home was definitely a move that I couldn't pass up. But yeah, just speaking about this process again, it's been fun. Getting to know a whole new group of guys, a partly new coaching staff, a new area. It's all been fun, and I've just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and what do you carry over from last season just on the field? Obviously, had a breakout year for you, preseason offensive player of the year. Just what were some of the good things from last year that you've tried to carry over through the offseason to now?
I would say definitely the work ethic that I picked up in Huntington. Being in Huntington, West Virginia, there wasn't a lot to do. So I found oftentimes found myself when there was downtime, I would be at the field, getting extra work in the facility, taking care of my body, watching extra film, and I would say that that's something that I've carried over to Southern Miss.
And how beneficial was the Manning passing camp for you this offseason?
Yeah, that was a great experience. That was my first time getting to go to that. So anytime you get a chance to get around guys that have played the game at the highest level, and guys that are considered some of the best of all time, that's great. Getting to hear Coach John Gruden talk was also really big for me. I got some really good notes from that, and then just being around your peers and your competitors, getting to see them in a different light that you don't get to see them in on Saturdays. You get to see what they do in the morning, what their morning routine is, just how they go about their everyday day. But that experience was really great for me.
Any pros that you met, or retirees, or maybe even some fellow collegiate players that you were really happy to meet, or were just had good interactions with?
Yeah, I know one of the guys is here actually at the Sunbelt Media Day, Jalen Rayner. Me and him, we connected really well at the Manning Passing Academy. And who else? My roommates, Gavin Wimsat, Sawyer Robinson, Miller Moss, all great guys. Everybody, all 45 of us that were there, they were all great guys, great personalities, just great people to be around.
I was going to save this for later on, but this may translate into it. Uh, what maybe the best advice you've gotten as a player, or maybe something you took away from the Manning camp that you've tried to carry over to now?
Yeah, Coach John Gruden, he said, your routine's never good enough. No matter how good you think your routine is, you can always make it better. So, that was something that I really heard because, as a guy, you want to think you're doing something well. But then when someone straight up flat out tells you what you're doing is not good enough, you look at yourself in the mirror like, okay, well, what can I do to make it better? So, I've been trying to, make my routine better, whether that's, finding more time to take care of my body, finding a more efficient way to watch the film, making sure that the extra work I'm doing isn't taxing my body, but just trying to make my routine better. Make it like Coach said. Make it 2% better every single day. That's something I really took away from
And
that.
how have you tried to acclimate that to Southern Miss with all the new guys? I mean, I know you have a lot of guys from Marshall that came over with you, but it's a big roster still. You
Yeah,
got guys you've still got to get acclimated to.
yeah.
How's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been really good, just getting to learn what makes everybody tick, what some guys respond to, what some guys don't respond to. But I would say just being connected as a team is something that we've taken very seriously this offseason.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And just general questions to wrap up here. Favorite stadium that you've played in, maybe high school or collegiate?
I would say the favorite stadium that I've played in will probably have to be the Boone Pickens Stadium at Oklahoma State. The stadium and the stands, or the stands are literally, we're this close to each other. So their fans are behind us making all kind of noise. It got really rowdy. That was a great place to play. Great atmosphere.
I know you haven't played officially for Southern Miss yet, but as far as uniform combinations that you've seen, I'm sure you've seen some previews. What's a favorite that you've seen so far?
On the uniforms,
Yeah.
oh, I would say from what I've seen, I like the black helmet. I'm sorry. I like the white helmet, white jerseys with the black pants. That's what I've liked so far, because our white jerseys have black numbers on them. So I feel like that'll really make it pop.
Okay. Uh, Pre-game meal or routine that you've been sticking with?
Pregame meal, and I'll start with my routine. So we get there Friday. Obviously, you wake up on a Saturday morning. I like to wake up. I like to cut some gospel music on in the morning. Read a little bit of word, and then it's kind of funny because as soon as I walk out that door, I'm not listening no more church music. It's all either Lil Baby, Pooh Shiesty, or
Different.
Future. So
Different stuff. Yeah,
that's
I
my
get you.
routine. And then pregame meal, I like to get some kind of chicken, some kind of pasta, and some kind of salad, whatever they have that day.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank
All right, and that was Braylon Braxton from Southern Miss Football. We appreciate him giving some time to us during a very hectic portion of his off season, the Sunbelt Football Media Days, and we'll be following the Golden Eagles as they progress through the season. As always, to follow everything that we do, head to the mothership, to sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter/X, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our audio and video hosts, which include YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, and more. Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.